goes any direction. Especially tonight, I think like we've had a lot of conversations over the past little while about spirituality, religion, and I kind of wanted to open up the minds of people when it comes to it all and how it's very similar but still different at the same time, because there's a lot of people who shun the type of things that I speak about and the type of things that I practice. um, I'm not in the voodoo. I'm not a voodoo girl. I'm not a, I don't, that's a different type of religion, that's from, the ancestors did that from African origins. But my thing is, there's a lot of people who don't open their hearts and their minds up to the spiritual path versus a structured religion. Rather,
Right.
it's kind of like, do I go do a 9 to 5 or do I become an entrepreneur? It's kind
Right. Right.
it,
Right.
those
They both serve a purpose for the purpose of the person that is participating in it.
exactly, which is why I
Yeah.
subtitled it "Finding Your Path," what works for you, because everybody doesn't want to do this version of self-love, discovery, and living life, and having certain faith-based beliefs and things like that. But yeah, you're the perfect person to.
What does your shirt say? What does your shirt say?
It says "perfectly flawed."
Guess what I wore on my shirt? Guess look at my shirt. So this is my clothing line that I started several years ago, and I kind of put it on the back burner, but it's called Flawed.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's alignment right there. So this is my #1 bestseller, and I just pinned it in the comments tonight during the live. Every live, I give 20% off of my brand because I still got a lot of merch. 20% off during this live, your entire purchase. Link is in my bio. But that is so dope because this is, like I said, this is my #1 seller. And a lot of people restrict themselves in life and probably have hesitation on who they are, and because of their flaws, and they look at those
Right.
and they say, I'm flawed, secretly, as well as they expose themselves. But we're all perfectly flawed. And
Sure.
and that's one of those things I was gonna cover in our conversation, because we're made perfect. But what is perfect?
We're made in the image and likeness of perfection.
You already knew
And
where I was going with it.
and so but because of human nature, we are automatically flawed by default.
Yeah, by
So
default, because I think has a lot to do with comparison, and when we look at someone and they have something that we don't, or they're at a certain status and a certain level that we are not, then we think something's wrong with us.
yeah, that's a comparison trap is crazy. First, let me give hold on. Before we even started this conversation, look, y'all, let me tell you about your girl. She is amazing. Her and Jay Rich and my friend Cindy, they all pulled up to my graduation last month and just hung out with us and blessed my heart. Now, she didn't have to pull up. She didn't have to come from where she came from to hang out with me in Cali, but she did. Jay Rich didn't have to come. I like, yo, Sydney didn't have to come. And they hung out. They loved on me. They even bought me a little sippy sip. You know what I'm saying? Little
Sip,
something, something.
little sip.
Little sippy sip.
That's some good Mexican food.
And some good Mexican food. And we hung out until, and so that just touched my heart. So when I say that they my people, real talk. What up, Ford? They my people, real talk. Like they came through and was in that joint cheering and shouting. We crying and all. It was an amazing time. So I gotta give them their flowers and their props because it blessed me so much. So yes. Okay, now we go.
It was an honor to be there to be with you and your family in that beautiful moment. You worked hard for it. You put in the effort. You had the passion. Anybody that I believe in, anybody that I see that has the drive, has the I mean, because I know what it takes to get to those levels and the sacrifices and the time and the effort and the stress that goes into that, that should be celebrated. And I'm
I
in
appreciate y'all pulling up.
we had a good time. I was sleepy, but
Hey,
I'm gonna be there.
sometimes at our age we get turned up. It was early, so you had enough time to get back and take a nap.
I did. I got home because I remember I flew in. I was on the
Yeah,
plane, and then I came
yeah.
home, and that flight was delayed, like severely delayed. And I turned right back around. I said, "No, I'm getting on this airplane." I said, "I'm showing up." Hey, K Short. Yeah,
Short.
there was
Hey,
no.
yeah, I mean, again, I appreciate y'all coming and hanging out at my graduation. That blessed me so bad. That blessed me, blessed me, blessed me.
Thank you.
Um, and so yeah, that just touched my heart. So I'm just
Oh, I loved it. It was fun, and I was screaming. Yes, we was screaming. We was loud.
so I'm actually trying to be part of the commencement next year. I got a couple of my people enrolled. So I'm trying to. I got a couple of things I got to finish up to put a bow on the top of that thing, but I should be part of the commencement next year.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Put that ball down.
I'm watching God work.
Absolutely, at all times, at all times. Well, welcome, 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 everybody who is in this space, in this room with us. This is Conscious Conversation, and tonight I have my dear friend and my twin tonight because I got perfectly flawed. He got flawed. That was not premeditated. That was
It was not.
it was definitely alignment. Introduce yourself to my audience who are uninitiated.
Well, this is my good friend, but who I am, this, oh man, I am now Dr. Maurice Ball, and I am a husband, a father, a friend, an entrepreneur, a community leader. I pastor an online community called Relevant Church that meets at 9:30 on Sundays. I'm when it's all said and done, I'm a man that tries to live out his faith and encourage people to pursue their God given destiny. So that's who I am at my core.
I love it. I love it. And what called you? What was it that called you into this?
All that sinning I was doing, God, the only way He could get me up out of that thing was put me in ministry, because ministry is not something that I got one friend who had the desire to be a pastor. All my other pastor friends, we all did the same thing. We put our track shoes on or our hiking shoes on or our scuba gear on, and we went as far and as fast away from the calling as we possibly could. Now, how God works is if He's pursuing you, He don't care what He has to do to get your attention. And so He'll drop the bottom out the bottom and make you be at the bottom of the bottom, looking up at the bottom. And so it got to a point to where I was living a lifestyle that was very very crazy. To me, it was normal because it was just normal lifestyle. But outside looking in, it was probably crazy. And so I got tired of that lifestyle. I got tired of running women. I got tired of the club. I got tired of all that stuff. And I was just like, I just don't know. So when he first tried to get my attention when my dad passed, and I was 20, so I really wasn't paying no attention to the breadcrumbs that he was leaving. And then in between there, after my dad passed and you go to the dark side, I know how to navigate in the darkness, and I've been at the crossroads of life and death. I stood there at the stop sign contemplating suicide. So at that point, I didn't cry out then, but it was an attention getter. Several years later, I end up getting invited to church by my mentor, and it was just one of those things where I was like, I done gave the world 100%, and why can I not try this at least? And so at around 26, I jumped in this thing full fledged, and for the last 26 years, I've been running hard like this. I didn't get saved. You know how some people get in, and then it's a couple of times before it's actually real to them. I got in, it was real right off the bat because I was like, I gave the world 100%. And so over the time of being in that, it was just a pull. It was just a pull, and it was just a pull. And then I couldn't run no more. And I landed in that space of ministry, and it's kind of now it's just kind of my lifestyle.
Mhm. Your story is very similar to mine on how I got into ministry because for
Mhm.
those that don't know, I am an ordained minister, and I,
Reverend,
huh,
I said Reverend.
Reverend. And through my degree, the University of Metaphysics, and earning my doctorate, um, spiritual counsel is something that I believe, people need as they're on their path. Yes, therapy, yes, counseling, but spiritual counseling goes way deeper. And when I decided to get into this, it was a matter of there's something unique about me that I can say is unique because I'm not blending in with everybody else. I'm
Right,
I'm different in family and community and friendships, all of that. Something's different about me, but there was no one that I could turn to that could help me understand it. And for me, even going to church, I still didn't fit in. That
right.
was my space. And I trust me, I've been to every kind of church. Every time I've been to the mosque, I've been to the temple, I've been to the Buddhist temple, I've been to every kind of everything you can think of. But until I found my spiritual center, that was when I said, I'm home. And they taught me how to be at home within myself.
Yeah,
So it's like that pull. Something was pulling you, and this was 20 years ago as well for me, where I was like, there it is, that thing that I've been looking for my whole life. And in one moment, I was like, this is it,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And I think if people if they, like you said, the breadcrumbs are always there. They've always been there, right in front of us.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't see them because they can't see them, and they don't have the desire to see them because they're so fixated on whatever this is over here, this life, these choices, these blingy things, and
Well,
and that thing that's within them, that God part of them
yeah,
is being ignored until something happens. See, that's something that wakes you up. That's what we call um, spiritual awakening. Your
yeah.
father has, and it creates a massive shift
Right.
in you that literally shakes you up, like it's something that startles you out of a sleep. It woke you up and said, "No, this is your path. This is the
It
truth."
may so so here's the funny thing about that. Like I was introduced at 17. My dad passed when I was 20, about to turn 21. Um, and I didn't actually take hold of this thing to 26. So there was, you know what I'm saying? So like the breadcrumbs, and I think oh, that's a great message. I'm
Write it
just
down.
checking my messages in my. Let me hold on. I got my notebook right here. Let me write this
I
down.
got mine
But
right here too.
the breadcrumbs sometimes look like dirt. Look like so you're not paying attention to the breadcrumbs because it blends in with it has the appearance of being blending in with everything else. And then once you get that spiritual awakening and you look back and I'm like, dang, the breadcrumbs were obvious. But because of where I was, even in your post that you did today, it's about perspective. You know, the perspective of when my perspective shifted, I can track now, I can look back and see like he wasn't leaving me breadcrumbs. he was leaving whole loaves of bread. You know what I'm saying? He like here and here, and because of where I was, I ignored that stuff because it just wasn't where I was. And so in this journey, and it is this piece is like you have to be aware of what's being presented, because if you're not, you're squandering. It's almost like he says, don't cast your pearl to swine, but sometimes we're the swine.
Sometimes.
So
And that's the, I look at that as, yes, sometimes we are our own toxicity. It's
yeah.
it's the gook that we have to eliminate and set ourselves free from in order to be able to hear, to see, to feel, to allow those senses to receive something that's bigger than us, something
For
that, you
sure.
know, something that is far beyond our comprehension, you know. Um, and that's one of those things where, you know, I grew up, I tell people all the time, I grew up with church, not in church. So we were that family that went on Easter Sunday.
Uh-huh.
That's it. Because, you know, grandpa wanted the whole family there, so we showed up, and that was it. Now, I had pastors and ministers in my family, but they were not the kind that you would want to be educated by. They were the ones that you say, okay, this is business for you. That's it. So it
Right.
it kind of put this thing in my head. Well, I don't believe they're all like that, because I've always been, you know, a fair person. I don't believe they're all like that. Well, let me go find the ones who are the real deal. I never could find them until I would say about 12 years old. I did. And it still was, for me, being in a church with a great pastor, Cecil L. Murray. He was amazing. First AME Church in Los Angeles, one of the biggest churches back in the 80s and early 90s. But everything was messy in the church. Wasn't him. It was the messy. And that kind of makes you look at, and I'm super observant. So it was like, how are you guys saying and believing this, but doing that? It was still, for me, something that I was like, I don't know what to believe at this point, because
Right.
it just doesn't smell right. Some don't smell kosher in here. And that was still me, you know, still being open to answers. I just want answers. And I found myself, you know, of what I thought, talking to God. Like, okay, I'm choosing to believe in you, but I want to know who you are. Uh-oh.
Give me 1 second, okay? My wife just came. I gotta give me 1 second, okay?
I said hi.
Hi. Sorry. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Ready to hit vacay day tomorrow.
I
We're
heard
on vacation
that.
tomorrow.
Yes.
So ready.
So let me borrow your husband for a little while.
Yes, yes. I just need to take him for just 1 second, and you can have him back right back.
Give me a few minutes, okay?
No problem. Do your thing. I want everybody that's in the chat right now, if you can, let's see, we got about 8 people in here per se. Are you guys more on the side of religion? And if so, which one? Or spirituality? Which do you lean more towards? Just so I know who's in the room. Because that's the title of this live, spirituality or religion and spirituality, finding the right path for yourself. It's not a side, it's a way of balance. There is a side. They're not the same, but there is spirituality in religion as well. But spirituality is a separate entity. Not religion, but God, the creator, is my father. Okay? Okay. See, this is a topic and a conversation that in 2025 and beyond, it ruffles feathers, because you have a lot of people who are on and I've been following a lot of preachers' kids that have these platforms. They're deconstructing Christianity because they're speaking kind of like the same way I speak. There's little holes in here, and we're trying to fill them in and give people a new perspective of religion, quote unquote. But it's not just Christianity. Let's just be clear. I've studied all of them. I went to a Jewish school. I have Muslim relatives. I have a Quran. I have a Torah. I have a Bible. I have all those things, and I'm getting a doctorate in metaphysical science. So it's all these perspectives, but religion as a whole is being dismantled because people are tapping more into spirituality, the deeper parts, not so much what's in a book, what's being drilled, the rules, the guidelines, and all of those things. Yeah, spirituality and a relationship.
Yeah, I think that's more so what I push. Like I'm not attached to a religion even as a pastor of a church that's online. I'm attached to I'm non-denominational, so I don't push a denomination. I don't push because see when you start really studying the Bible and you start studying like especially Christianity and the denominations they were all movements. They were all a movement in time that created a truth and then took that and made that the truth, right? So you got Pentecostal, you got AME, you got all these other things. So these were movements, and you get away because you get so religious and dogmatic about the rules that you forget about the God of the rules. And so you squeeze God out, but you make it a form of godliness because you attach it to a church and you attach it to a religion. And so what ends up happening is that you see like you don't see a lot of young people in church. You don't see a lot of men in church. Because of the reasons that you want me to fit into this box. And that's not how Jesus rolled. He was like, I'm a fisher of men. So you go to where the people are. He was always adapting to the culture. That's why my church is named Relevant. He stayed relevant to the culture to wherever he was. And so that's the purpose of like, now I'm trying to stay relevant. Sometimes if I got an exegete text, I can. For the Bible scholars, we can do that. We can rock in that way. But the people that I'm fishing for, if you over here and you speak broken English like me, then I'm over here with you. It's like I got a 20-year-old son. I have to make going after God look appealing, right? It has to be for him and his friends. It has to be appealing. As a preacher's kid, I sit up there and rock with him. We listen to music. I listen to that crazy stuff that he listened to and all that other stuff. And I'm just like, I don't judge him on that. I just talk about how bad his choice of music is.
As a parent,
because
we do that.
because I'm a hip hop head. So I'm like, this lame whack stuff that you listening to, but I don't put all the rules in place. And what my goal is for him is I don't need you to quote scripture. I don't need you to be a Bible thumping young man. What I need you to be able to do is when the time comes that you stand up, believe up on your faith. If somebody need prayer, you pray right now. If somebody need to be led to Christ, then you lead them to Christ. But all the other stuff, I don't even rock like that because it pushes people away. It's pushing adults away. So if it's so crazy where adults don't want to participate in a relationship with God because the representation is bad, what these young people ain't gonna want to rock with God because the representation is bad.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's where my area of understanding, experience, and expertise in taking the spiritual path rather than the religious path is seeking that part of you that is what we call in metaphysics Christ consciousness. It is the levels to which we understood Jesus was teaching. These are the things. What I am, also you are. I'm showing you the way, which is the level of consciousness that was possessed by this, this person. And to go on that path, to go on that journey of discovering who you are, the God within you. Know that it's inside of you as well. And I'm here to show you how to allow it to come out through divine love. Because when I ask people, if you could put Jesus into one word, what would it be? Well, I put it into unconditional love. That was it. That to me is the foundational piece, because he loved everyone, even his enemies. How many people can actually say we love everyone, including our enemies? We may not like you, but being that you too are a child of God, you are loved. I'm here to only express that and give that to everyone, no matter what. Love that neighbor. That's love your fellow man. Love not the person that lives next door, but love the person that's next to you. Love the people that are next to you. Have compassion, have respect, have understanding. Only exude love. And of course, that love will return back to you. We also teach in universal law, which is the law of nature. And it's to understand these are the same things. They just have been put inside of these stories, these recollections, these teachings that was formed together to create these different books. Like I said, the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, all these different, the Kabbalah, all these different books. But unfortunately, man has misconstrued it for power. So that was another thing I wanted to talk to you about, where religion, as far as I know it and have seen it and understand it even to this day, has been used as a weapon of power, whereas spirituality is used as a key towards personal freedom.
Absolutely.
Allowing yourself to be.
Absolutely. I mean, you summed it up well. Religion is control. Spirituality is freedom. And if you've seen the book of Eli, he talks about that in the book of Eli. He says, if I get this book and I can teach the teachings in this book, the people will then respect me and put me on this pedestal, and they will worship me as a god.
Yep.
And I think, and this is where I have a beef with the church. And I try not to bring up an issue without a solution. So I'm gonna give a solution to what my beef is with the church. The church, the people have made the pulpit the end all be all. So we have these superstar pastors. Just to give people a little history and why I can talk about this, I was on staff of a 50,000 member church, the largest church in the United States. I've worked with, you name them, all the guys, all the big dogs, all the people that y'all see and watch and love, worked with them, seen them personally. And behind the scenes, it was only one that was really, really about God's business. I'll say two. One, Dr. Miles Monroe was 100% about his business, and he could care less about the titles and the elevation that people gave him. And the other one, even though he got a bad rap because of a mistake that he made, but Eddie Long was up there as well. Like he did what he did, but I'm talking about when it came down to just genuine, not caring about his title, not caring about like really loving people and treating people with respect and dignity. Out of all the people that I worked with, where I think we do though, we put people on a pedestal and we think that they don't have the capability of sinning. And this is what I tell people: don't put me on a pedestal, because I'm just a man that's called out to be amongst. I can fall at any given time. So don't think that, if you hear something like, oh, no, I told you I ain't perfect. I told y'all I'm flawed. So don't do that. But what we do, we're perfectly flawed. And so I think the people have put the pulpit as the end all be all. The people in the pulpit didn't say, don't worship the me, don't worship the pulpit. I'm here to be an example like Jesus. When Jesus went to wash Peter's feet and he was getting down, he's washing his feet, and Peter like, yo, man, just go ahead and wash the rest of my body. And this is my interpretation. Fool, I ain't here to wash your body. He said, look, I'm not here for that. He said, your body don't issue. I need to wash your feet. So I'm an example. So what you see me do, that you go and do. And I think if the pulpit went and did what and led from that way,
Yes.
then you'll have a group of people that will be out to lead or go out and be servants, right? You can't like you can't outserve me.
Yes.
I'm in the trenches.
Hello.
You want to go to tent community? I roll with tools. We go cut hair, we go feed, we go into tent, we go into bridges, we go into byways, the highways, we go do all this stuff, right? Not that I'm wonderful, but if I'm trying to lead by example and make people understand that this is what Christ was talking about when he was washing feet, that when I do it, then you can see me do it, and then it makes it easier for you to go out and do it. But we put it on the pedestal and we stop at the pulpit, and the only way to reverse that is for the leaders in these churches to be able to turn that around and say, this ain't it.
Yes.
Don't this is peanuts. The bigger thing is to get you out of your comfort zone so that you can go do what he says in John 13. He says, love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. And then he says, love your neighbor on yourself. And on those two laws, you can hang all the laws of the prophets. So that means every book that was written in the Old Testament, you can take those two commandments and hang everything on those.
It's there. How can I put this? When it comes to exactly what you said, if we went to our place of worship, our place of community, fellowship, and they gave instructions, like if they gave assignments to go out and do these things, such as missionary work, or Jehovah's Witnesses, they go door to door to recruit. But what are the actual acts? Are you actually taking care of one another? One thing that I say every single time I'm flying, at the end of my flight, the last thing that I say is remember to take care of one another. Because that's what we're here to do. It's a reminder. We're not here for self. So if you say, oh, well, I'm volunteering at my church. Well, how much volunteering do you do in your community? How much of that energy do you put into your children's school? Or even if you don't have kids, do you go and volunteer just to be a positive light in children's lives? That work, that Christ-like work, has now evolved and shifted into, we live in metropolis, we live in big cities, we live in small communities. Your community is what you should be walking in your Christ walk through. You get what I'm saying? You should be there taking care of your community. This is one of the things and the problems that I've always had with the Black church. Why are there Black churches, but the communities are still run down? I lived in LA my whole life, first 35 years of my life. And there's a couple of streets down in South LA, okay? There is about 5 or 6 churches within 2 blocks. You could just open up a little hall and have a church. There's big churches. I mean, there's churches going all down these streets. But also what's next to the church is a liquor store. So it's a running joke in LA. Like, there's a church, there's a liquor store at the other corner. There's a church, there's a liquor store at the corner. All these things, but it's just like these are impoverished neighborhoods. How come we're not out here helping each other? How come we're turning our backs on people who come in who are trying to redeem themselves, who are just trying to find a way, because what we are turning away when we turn our noses up at them, because, oh, they're coming into my church. These are lost souls who are looking for their way. And the first thing you do is show them rejection. And one of
Yeah.
the, when I was a kid and I go into the church, my biggest thing to this day, how come the ushers are so mean? They so mean. This is supposed to be church. You should come in. You can't sit there. You can't do that. And I'm like, wait, whoa. You should be kinder to people who are showing up, because you're also criticizing the people who aren't showing up. But then you want to come in here and you want to be mean. And you want to, be, a seat is a seat. If I got to
Right.
stand in the back, at least I showed up. I came here to receive something so that I could go back out into the world and be at my best. But unfortunately,
For sure.
the case in point,
For sure.
I can't remember who that pastor was that decided he wanted to lock his congregation inside the church until he had a certain amount of money. Really?
Now that was taken a little bit out of context, but I get what you're saying. It was.
What are we locking the door for?
Yeah.
People have it, they have it. If they don't,
Right.
they don't.
I was very, very critical of that situation, because it was, I just don't agree with that. I don't agree with it. But when I started to look at I seen the whole thing in totality, I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense. I wouldn't have done it like that. In his mind, it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And to add to your point is, the church is a hospital. It's for the sick, the lame. That's what he says. He says in Luke 4:18, he says, I did come for those who are, he said, those who are healthy don't need a doctor. I came for the sick, the lame, the brokenhearted, the downtrodden, all that. So this is what makes up what we call the church, the building. So it's full of broken, hurt people that's trying to heal. So when I reject you in a place where I think that I should be accepted, then I don't just turn away from you. I turn away from God.
Whole operation.
So yeah, and so now, so I remember we were in Charlotte, and we was having some people over. A young lady came in, and she was saying how she was contemplating suicide the night before, and her reasoning was she went into the church, and the church rejected her in the place that she was, and she broke down and was like, I never thought that I would be rejected in a place that's supposed to receive me. Mm-hmm. And she didn't know what to do with that. Yeah. And so we kind of talked her off the ledge and everything like that. But the church, it has gone to this place that I know for a fact that God is not pleased with what's coming out of it, because it's not producing Christians like it's supposed to. The concept of mega church is supposed to produce Christians at large numbers, right? But it's not. It's not producing God-fearing Christians. It's producing title label Christians, and I think the system in itself is just broken. And that's one of the reasons why I got out of my church. Like I don't care if you. Even when I had my building, I was like, I care if you come or not. If I see you in the streets, just know I'm not going to ask you why I didn't see you on church on Sunday. I don't care like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you grow. You come when you come. You don't when you don't. But I think we put too much emphasis on you being in the building.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean,
and not doing the work.
You said the system is broken. Was it ever not really broken though?
I'll say from my experience from when I got in church, when I went to church probably one time in high school, maybe once, none in college, none when I lived in San Diego. So I went years without going to church. But when I did find a nice little church, I don't think that it was broken, because it was the way that it was set up. They had it set up like, we know we are a hospital. So you come in and we matriculate you. So church is supposed to have a matriculation process, the assimilation process and a matriculation process. And it's just like you got into school and you went from pre-K to first grade to post grad, and in hopes that everything that you picked up along the way, that you're able to go out and use that. Church doesn't do that. You get in, you matriculate, and then you stop at the door frame. You like, I ain't going. No, you want me to take what I learned out there? Yeah, he tell us to go into all the world. That's what he said. I am sending you as sheep amongst wolves to go out. So I think that in the system that I came up in, it took me from being completely far from God, got in, learned how to learn how to pray, learn how to seek God, learned all this from a man, because most churches are filled with women. So I learned all how to worship. I learned all the preliminary basic foundation things. And then once I checked those off the box, they put me in something else. I started to learn more. Then as I started to grow, I got into something else and got into something else. And then when it got to a point where it's time for like graduation, it was like, boom, get out this desk and go out in them streets and talk to people. Yeah,
respond to the young lady's question. She said,
Right.
what are your thoughts on tithing? And I want, if I could jump in this really quickly first. I have no objection to tithing itself, but to me, where in my realm, tithing is acts of service. It does not have to be just money. It could be 10% of your time. It could be something. It is serving your fellow man in whatever capacity you can offer. It could be donating clothes, donating time. If you have money to share, offer it. Things like that. Unfortunately, the church says break the money, get the money, but because the church needs the money, to
For
run the
overhead.
operation. To run the operation. I know my spiritual center, they call it donations. Whatever you can offer, it goes towards the programs. It goes towards, because our reverend, he has books, he has seminars, he has retreats, he has all these different ways of providing himself income, and he drives a little Prius. He minds his.
I ain't driving no Prius, but
It
I
totally-
mean, I'm just saying. I'm just playing like I'm just like
it's just a thing that it still is a business. It still has to run. It has to be funded in some
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. And so when we left the church and we were just chilling, people were like, "But why are you not tithing?" and stuff like that. And I'm like, so you think like tithing is everything that you just said, but even if it comes down to the money, and I say, you know what, I have 10% of my money right here, and I go buy family groceries. Is that not the same thing? Is it not the same thing if I gave to a charitable organization of something that I believed in? Is that not the same thing? You're doing God's work. So I don't discount tithing, and I will never tell people not to tithe. But I also will tell you that seek God in how you're giving.
How. To me, the work that we do as far as counseling and coaching and things, that still is tithing, because we are giving. It doesn't necessarily have to be to this particular church. If you feel
Right.
called, if you feel pulled, if you can afford it, by all means, contribute to what you can. But it's really, like you said, are you doing God's work here in the real world? Not so much the building. There's so many people that dedicate themselves to just this one place, whereas the entire world and beyond is God's place. This is everything. You said
Can I say this real quick so people can understand? So when we break down the word church, the first time you see that word church is in Matthew 16, I think 16, 18, 16, 13 or 18, one of those. And he's talking to Peter, and he says, he asked them, who do men say that I am? And they say, some say you're Elijah, some say you this, some say that this. And then they say, okay, yeah, I get that, but who do you say that I am? And then Peter says, thou art the Christ, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And he says, hey, flesh and blood didn't tell you. These cats around here didn't tell you that. Oh, you had to be revealed in heaven. He said, on this, the gates of hell will not prevail, and I will establish my church. That's the first time you see that word, because other than that was the temple or the synagogue. So it was foreign. So when we talk about church, it's really two words. It's ek and kosia. So it's called the ecclesia, the called out ones. And church is used 117 times in the Bible, and not one time is it talking about a location. Not one time. So church, I am the church. When I show up, I shift atmospheres. I'm a thermostat, not a thermometer. Right? I set the temperature. Yeah. I gauge, because there's not a place where my God doesn't reign at. And so if I'm here as a representation of him, I shift rooms. I go in, and I know that I'm not being arrogant or anything like that, because I'm not walking in my own power. Right. But I know that, like, I'm called out. I am the church. I show up. This is church. 2 or 3 gathered, we have it. So wherever I show up, a party's liable to pop off, because I'm bringing the Holy Spirit and God with me. And if you want some, I got some for you.
Got enough for you. We got enough for you.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Really, and that to me is part of the missing part of the formula when it comes to the teachings in the church. In the spiritual world, I'm not gonna say the spiritual world, but yeah, in the spiritual communities, we literally teach people how to dive in and go find that power within themselves rather than seeking it outside. There's nothing outside. God speaks through you, to you. That's personal. That's the relationship you have with God. God doesn't care how many times a day you pray. God doesn't care how many times you open your book of worship. God doesn't care how many times you show up at church. God just wants to know, can you hear me? Let me move through you, as we are made in the very image and likeness. We are here to do God's work. God is the ultimate creator. We are co-creating with God. So therefore, we are here to do the work on that assignment. And if you can't hear it, if you can't feel it, and you can't see it, you're not in alignment with God's purpose for you.
For sure.
You're on somebody else's purpose. You're allowing someone else to tell you how to move, rather than listening to the God within you that's telling you, you need to tune all that out. You need to let that go. You need to sit here with me. Be still. Be still.
Yeah.
Okay? It's going to take place, but unfortunately, and I have this thing where I watch children. I love children. Children are sponges. They're pure. They're all these things. But what is the one thing that children want more than anything from their parents is love, right? That's the thing. And with love, that also looks like validation, affirmation, approval, all these things, right? So one of the things that when I'm talking to people who are really super locked into their religious beliefs, which I'm never trying to stray, try to derail you from them, but I always ask them this: what if you learned this first rather than that way? Because when you were a child, they told you how to believe or what to believe. They told you what was right, what was wrong. But what if you learned this way first, where they said, what do you feel is right for you? What do you choose to believe? How do you choose to feel? What if you learned it this way first? Would you be because I'm very tight with mine, but it's a sense of freedom. Whereas you see little kids and they praising and all this other stuff, and they be like, oh, that baby got the Holy. That baby does not have the Holy Ghost. That baby does not have the Holy Ghost. That baby is trying to impress you. Okay. Right. That baby has not lived long enough to find their way back to God. That baby has not gone through their healing. They have not gone through their life journey enough to be able to sit there and say, I know God within me. I know God. We good. My life path, boom. They haven't been here long enough.
Now, I agree, but I also know that if you follow his track record, he uses kids.
No, I know that. I know that.
But I know what you're saying. For them to, so they're mimicking something that they're seeing, and
Yeah.
then you're saying they have this something that they have yet to experience
Hmm.
because they're mimicking something that they see.
Yes,
Yeah.
because children are the purest. They are the purest. I watch. I'm very when it comes to children, I'm locked in because they're gonna teach me something. They're gonna show me something. They are way more pure than I am, and I feel part of my service to them is to maintain that purity because I'm gonna go to their level. It's not lower; it's actually more above because their mind is not filled with any opinions. There are no judgments. There's
Right.
no withholdings of I don't believe it. No, there's like I said, they're sponges. So being that you're still a clean sponge, I'm gonna go to you and see what's coming through you. Those smiles, those laughs, those that energy, all of that. That's God right there. Like you said, God uses them. But like I said, when they're mimicking and they're doing all that, and come on
Yeah,
now.
I dig it. Right. Right.
Not
And-
that.
right. Don't put that on that baby. Break out your phone and record, and now you done set that child up to be processed sooner than they
Yeah.
need to be.
Someone put a scripture in here, Joel 2:28.
Let me see what Joel 2:28 says. Let's see, Bible.
Yeah, the child definitely lead us. Because I kid you not, and it's that old thing. Well, shoot, a lot to talk about with that. That old thing where children were meant to be seen, not heard. But
Oh yeah.
there's something that they had to deal with and still dealing with in their adult years. But one of the things that I know people are bumping heads with especially like Gen Z, Gen Alpha. These kids are very boisterous. They're very expressive. They tell you how they feel. And I think like our generation actually listens, whereas the previous generations didn't listen. And I think that is a contributing factor to them also knowing who they are a bit earlier in life, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. And I say this also because that mentality, especially in the black community, that mentality comes from primarily, I would say, the church, which then before that came from slavery.
Right.
Speak when
Right.
spoken to, don't do it's like the generations put those limitations and those bounds on their kids and so on and so forth. And it's like our generation is liberating our kids. Like, we're not doing
Yeah, I
that.
think we're tearing down those constructs and say it's free to you're okay. You have free reign of all this instead of saying you only have free reign to this piece right here. So Joel 2:28 said, and it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see visions. Yes. Yeah.
That's an awakening. That's an
Yeah.
awakening. He said your old men will what?
Your old men will dream dreams.
Uh-huh. And your young men will see visions.
Yep.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, there's so much wisdom. There's so much wisdom in all of these books. And I feel like, I understand, geographically, people are only bound to one idea.
Mhm.
But I think, the way the world is evolving, we're being exposed to all of it. And it's like, can you actually come together and learn from one another and compare notes and just have compassion for each other? Just have, and that's one of the things that I love about my spiritual center. I would sit next to a Hindu on one side, and then there'll be a Jewish guy on the other side, and then we have Christians, we have Muslims. It was a kaleidoscope
Uh-huh.
of people, and we were there for the same purpose, to become more full and to just have unity as human beings. That was it. And
Fellowship. You
it
can't beat it.
you can't. And it's like, what do we have in common? We are all faithful people. We know that there's something bigger than us, but it's also that big thing has all brought us together just as people, no matter what our learning and teachings are, no matter what, we were raised with, no matter anything. We're just here to just be people in fellowship right now and enjoying this concept called love, this experience called love. We're just here to do that. And that's one of the reasons why it just felt right to me. I was like, this is it. That first time I walked into that building and they said all the new people stand up, I was smiling like I came on Coming to America. I was like, yes, I'm happy to be here. Like, I found it. And that's kind of like, I know people have that feeling in a lot of different other areas of, when it comes to their faith and their spirituality and their religion. But for me, it was explosive. And I'm like, I found what my soul has been looking for. I found it.
That's so, Jamie, to answer your question, it's not about identifying as a Christian to have a beautiful life. Christianity in itself is really not about you being here. It's really about where your soul goes for after the eternal life. Being here, we're supposed to exemplify the characteristics and the nature of God, because we are all made in his likeness and in his image. Now, so having a beautiful life outside of God does not mean that you're still not made in his image and in his likeness. Does not mean that he still does not, he loves you just as much as he loves anybody else. And he sent his son to pay the penalty for all our transgressions, even if we love him or not. He's not taking notes. He's not saying, oh, he is, but it doesn't. I had to clear that up.
Let me ask you this question. Why would God need to take notes?
God is saying either you are or you aren't.
God does.
He's not
taking notes.
He ain't taking notes on your life saying, well, you did all this. He don't look at it like that. He look at it through two lenses. One, through the sacrificial sacrifice of his son, or not. Everything if you in, you in. If you're not, you're not.
This is where the gift of free will comes in, right?
Oh, he gives us that.
You get to decide. And I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna bring it back over here to the metaphysical side. So we are all given a divine purpose to do God's work in some form or fashion. It is custom made, just like your fingerprint, your DNA, the whole nine. Your mission is your mission, right? You have the ability, the God-given talent to decide how you play this thing out called life, which is co-creation. You're here to co-create. We're creating with the creator, right? So if I don't do what's in alignment with what God has intended for me, my life is not going to be beautiful. Not like I think. Now, I can have the illusion, but at what cost? Because yes, I could go do all these things and I can make all this money and I can have all this and this, that, and the other, but that's probably going to come with some manipulation, some backstabbing, some cheating, some fraudulent stuff. Anything that's not true to who you are on that divine level, it's not going to be an actual beautiful life. So when you say, yeah, God's taking notes, they're sitting there right there looking at you. Like because you're suffering your own consequences right now. You're going to suffer the consequences of not fulfilling your soul's mission, whatever God intended for you to have and experience and do in this life, I guess on his behalf, whatever you want to call it. But it's you get to decide if I'm going to go on this path or I'm going to go on this path. Nothing I can do about it, because guess what? At the end of the day, everybody has a mission. And if you don't get this thing done that I sent you here to do, somebody else is going to get it done for me. Okay, because what we know is part of the universal consciousness, the God mind, the one mind, right? So if I send you out here to do this and you're not getting it done, that idea of whatever it is that I gave is going to go to the next person. And then you're going to sit back and say, hey, I thought of that. I should have done that. Oh my gosh, I wish I would have. Shoulda, coulda, woulda equals regret. How many of us in the world have died with regret? That's painful.
Yes.
That's hell.
Yes.
Okay. That's breaking it down how free will, sit back, relax.
And this is why, and this is one of the reasons why I love God so much and why I don't try to convince people to believe what I believe. It's not my job to try to convince you or convert you to what I believe. My responsibility is to live a life that reflects his character and his nature and his unconditional love towards humanity. So him giving us free will, the right to choose to do this.
Mhm.
He says, oh, okay. Like in your analogy, he says, I give you something, you don't want to use it. It's cool. I'll raise somebody else up, but I'm still gonna hold you accountable.
Mhm.
However even if it's a bad person, I'm still gonna judge you for that because I called you to do it.
Mhm.
So
And yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, so you don't get away from it because it's still assigned to you and he still charges it to you. I can't walk away from what he called me to do. Well, I could.
You
I
good,
could.
but it's not
I
like
could.
you're gonna suffer the consequences.
Or absolutely. I'm going to suffer the consequences. And then if somebody else is raised up and they started manipulating and stealing and all this other stuff and it was supposed to be me, I'm going to be accountable for that.
Mhm.
Like that was supposed to be you putting the right things in place and you chose not to do it. And so like but and I love what you're talking about, like the life without a life without the without being grounded spiritually is not a beautiful life at all.
It's
It,
not.
it's because and this is not towards you, Jamie, because there's other people listening to this, but I'm just saying because then it's built on something that can change with status, right? The more money, the more happier, the more beautiful. Now your identity is wrapped up in aesthetics or money and this and that and this. So you got to keep changing with the times. You got to keep pursuing what the new thing is, what the hottest thing is, what the next thing is in order to stay in that space. Because if you're not, then that life that you say is beautiful then changes because you don't have the latest and the greatest.
Mhm.
And it looked like Carrie has her hand up. She has a question.
I think she's saying greetings. I think she's waving.
Oh, okay.
It's there was another point I was gonna make. It'll come back to me. You can have everything and have materialistically nothing
Have nothing. Absolutely.
because you have found everything it's already in you. It's already in there. God is within you. God is, all that ever will be, and all that was, right? It's in you. The part of the life path, the life journey is discovering that. Remember, oh, where'd you go? Remembering
Oh,
and
my iPad. Yeah, that was funny.
rediscovering that about yourself. And it's like you said, if you don't have some type of grounding about yourself, you're gonna allow life in the world to have its way with you. We
Yep.
see evidence of it all the time. There's no getting around it. It's not exciting to most people because some people are looking for that amazing thrill. But I'll tell you this, when you do find it, that's the highest thrill you could ever have. Like it's a beautiful and amazing feeling to truly surrender to that thing that you can't quite explain fully, but you know this is it. That right there is it. You can't, but you know this is it. That right there is it. You can't. But when it comes to your purpose, no, you might not get it done. Which it
Let me fit. Hold on. My iPad is doing some. This is crazy. So I could. Let's see.
Yeah, you might not get it done. How many people, like, I watched my own father on his deathbed still have regret. And I remember making it a commitment to myself years ago. I'm going to leave this life with the minimal amount of regret as possible. So I'm going to
Look,
live fully, holistically as possible, authentically as possible. So that way, when I look back, I say, you know what? I did my best. I did the best that I could. I did pretty much everything I wanted to do. And I'm good.
mhm.
I did everything I was called to do. Because that's a whole nother a whole nother. But when it comes to people boxing themselves in and putting these restrictions and limitations and rules and all these things, it's always bugged me, because I say, but you put rules on this, but you don't put rules on that. You give these people, free range to do whatever, and you forgive them, but you don't forgive these people over here. It's got to be a universal thing. Oh, that was
Right.
my. There's a movie called The Lake. Was it The Lake House? I think it was called The Lake House. Don't quote me on that. I have to get the name of it. A lot of people are missing their calling. Yes, and it's a movie about a little girl who was on a camping trip with her family, and she was abducted. And they did a whole search for this little girl. She was unalived by someone who did kidnap her. Her father totally went down, just everything, to the point where this movie was so beautiful, because he went back to that lake house, or that cabin. I think it was a cabin. Went back to it where she transitioned, and he actually walked with death, saw God. God was three different people, I think. So just showing you how there is no actual face. It's just your interpretation at that time. And it was a point where he was the shack. That was it. The
The
shack.
shack. The shack. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Where he was actually faced with who was that one? It was one of the angels he was faced with, and then his other two children were presented.
I
And
still haven't seen it.
oh,
I
you
still
got
haven't seen it.
it. Well, I just got to share this part, and then you can go with the rest, because this was it. It was a great movie. So the two teenage kids, they had to explain, well, your daughter, she doesn't like you, and this, and she's angry, and she's dating this boy, and so on and so forth. And then the son, he's doing bad in school, he's doing, bad behavior and all this other stuff. So he said, which one of these do you want me to punish? Like, or I have to kill one of them. And he was like, I can't pick. Like, how do you expect me to pick? And so when he spoke to God, he said, well, why do you think I should have to pick? That person that did that horrible thing is my child too. It's a matter of, no matter what side of the field you're playing on, you still are a child of God. You're here for a divine purpose, whatever that
Sure.
purpose is. Now, the thing that I understand in spirituality is you cannot have light without dark. That's been the endless battle since the beginning of time, right? Things happen. Bad things do happen, or what we consider to be bad. But great things always come from it, no matter what. It's a cycle. It's an endless cycle. And one thing that I personally, and a lot of us that really study metaphysics and understand this thing, we don't agree with this devil thing, because we understand the history of where it came from. But when we refer to it as that dark part of us, remember in the cartoons you had an angel over here and the devil over here? It's your conscience. It's literally that thing that's speaking to you and said, oh, well, the devil made me do it. No, that part of you made you do it, because there is no one thing that's saying, oh, look at this. Is there temptation? Absolutely. Are there situations and that can put you in? Absolutely. But when it comes down to it, we don't blame anything on anybody else. We look to ourselves and say, what did I choose? What, because in the beginning, guess what? According to the story, he didn't make Eve eat the apple. She chose. He tempted,
Right.
used. he suggested.
He spit some game and she fell for it.
She fell for it, right? According to the story. But she made the decision. But
Right.
unfortunately, well, I'm not gonna say unfortunately, that entity that was created always gets that rap. It's your fault. No. Self accountability. What did you pick for yourself? What did you decide for yourself? Which path did you pick? Because yes, the temptation is there. The same as I can have a bunch of Oreo cookies sitting in front of me, and I know I need to lose 20 pounds. Am I gonna be mad at the cookies? Am I
Right.
gonna be mad at Nabisco? Am I gonna be mad at anybody else? No, I get to make the decision for myself whether or not I'm gonna devour these cookies and put some milk with it.
Right. The
That's what
whole,
we do.
not just three of the whole row.
A whole roll.
Right. Yeah.
Double stuff.
Got cookie sediment all in the bottom of your milk.
Double stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that overall, I think that people could take the pressure off themselves by just seeking the truth, and not a truth, but the truth for them. That the truth that work. Not let me say it works. The truth. And again, not my job is not as a believer. My job is not to convince you to do what I do. It's not my job to do that. My job is to love you as my neighbor, and that's what I try to do, in hopes that the love compels you to want to question why I do what I do, which then leads to opening up conversations, which then leads to uh, the exposure that you really need. And so I am I appreciate, because I have to get, we flying out
No,
tomorrow.
we
So
got to wrap this up anyway. And this is
okay.
many because you coming back.
Oh, hey, yeah, I have to get you pulled back up on on the other side of the street.
I want to thank everybody, especially my guy, Mr. No, excuse my social blunder.
What?
When have I ever called you Mr. Ball? It's Dr.
Oh, uh,
It is Dr. Ball. I put that in my phone months ago. Okay.
I feel special.
I want to thank everybody for coming in. If you received anything from us, I really hope and I pray you received love. Find that love within you. Listen to that spirit inside of you. That's God calling you on your path, whatever that is. Follow it. And we're here if you need any type of counseling or just an ear to listen to. If you're going through some things, put some respect on his name. Exactly. We'll put some respect on his name. He earned that. I'm next. I'm next. But yes, thank you so much for coming on. And this will be the first of many. I love talking with my friend, and I want you and your missus to have a wonderful time.
Hey, you know what? You should pull us both on as a couple and do
Yes.
a couple one.
You know what? That's a good idea.
Yeah, and we
Yep.
can talk about this married life.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah. And
yeah.
I'm talking about my single life.
Hey, hold up. I'm gonna hit you offline
Why?
because I had a conversation with somebody that was
Uh-huh.
at my crib the other day, and he said something, and I said, ah, ah,
Okay.
ah,
As long as his mental health is all right and he's single,
Oh,
like not
yeah, he
nobody
both of
finished.
those, both of those, and he building, he
Okay.
doing some things.
All right. Well,
So
whatever's in alignment for me, then I'm open to receive. Get off my live. Have a wonderful
hey,
trip with your bride. Okay.
I love you, and hey y'all, look, hey, next week She has Miss Cookie coming on, and I'm
Well,
really excited.
That's actually going to be tomorrow.
Oh, the 13th
Yeah.
tomorrow. Hey, look, I'm really excited about that because two powerhouse. They are both amazing, and if y'all are tapping in, I know that conversation is going to be lively, wild, and crazy, but it's going to be full of gems. So look, the 13th, pull up again and catch her out, catch her with Miss Cookie, because they are both amazing, and I know if we're landed and I got Wi-Fi.
It's okay. I'm gonna have it up on YouTube too, so don't even trip. Watch it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I'll share your flyer on my story.
Okay.
I
Thank
seen
you.
it.
Tomorrow,
So
5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central.
Central.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all go be safe, have fun.
Love you.
All right, try some new tricks.
Hey, page 12 on that Karma Sutra book.